Gentlemen, welcome. I'm Dr. Michelle Williams, board-certified urologist and men's health specialist, and today we're stepping into a subject most people tiptoe around yet. It affects every relationship, every bond, and every layer of intimacy more profoundly than most men realize. In my years of clinical work, I've learned that intimacy isn't simply an emotional connection or a physical act. It's an exchange of chemistry, physiology, psychology, and unspoken communication. Unfortunately, because society often encourages men to stay silent about these topics, many find themselves navigating intimacy without any true understanding of how profoundly their actions influence the female body and mind. This conversation isn't about shame or judgment, it's about clarity, awareness, and empowerment. When you understand what's happening inside a woman, during moments of closeness biologically and emotionally, you gain a deeper ability to connect, support, protect, and strengthen your relationship. My goal is to take you behind the scenes of the female brain and body so you can see the full picture of how intimacy shapes mood, sleep, immunity, trust, bonding, and long-term relationship satisfaction. Today, we're exploring 7 essential, science-based truths about intimacy that most men simply have never been taught. If you've ever wondered why women respond emotionally to closeness, why their mood shifts after intimacy, or why trust influences everything from desire to communication, you'll finally understand the biological mechanisms behind those experiences. And if you're a man over 40 or 50, this knowledge becomes even more important because your health, habits, and emotional presence matter more now than ever. So let's begin, and I invite you to stay with me through the entire discussion. What you're about to learn has the potential to not only improve your understanding, but transform your relationship from the inside out. 1. Intimacy isn't just physical, it's a biochemical CONV. And most people grow up believing intimacy is something that happens on the shush, closeness, arousal, pleasure. But scientifically, the female body experiences intimacy as a series of chemical messages exchanged between two people. These messages influence emotions, physiological responses, and even long-term biological changes. When two partners come together, the body doesn't just react to the moment, it interprets the experience as information. The skin, nervous system, hormonal glands, immune system, and even the brain's emotional centers respond in real time. Inside a woman's body, receptors begin reading signals from her partner, signals from touch, temperature, movement, and emotional tone. But what many men don't realize is that the body is also communicating at a microscopic level. Chemicals such as oxytocin, melatonin, and serotonin move through the bloodstream. Nerve pathways activate, and hormones shift subtly in response to emotional safety or stress. This is why intimacy can either deepen connection or create distance. It's not just about performance, it's about the environment you create. Understanding this concept opens the door to more meaningful connection. When you realize intimacy is a dialogue between two biological systems, you begin to appreciate the power of emotional presence, patience, warmth, and mutual respect. The body interprets all of it. Point 2. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone that changes. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone, but oversimplifying it hides just how powerful it truly is. In women, oxytocin influences bonding, trust, emotional openness, and even their ability to feel safe within the relationship. During moments of closeness, whether it's holding hands, hugging, kissing, or sexual intimacy, surge, creating a deep sense of connection. This surge is not merely emotional, it is a measurable biological event that prepares the brain to interpret the relationship as safe and meaningful. When a woman feels emotionally connected to her partner, oxytocin strengthens that bond. But when she feels distant, stressed, or unheard, her brain releases far less of it, unlike men, whose brains rely more on dopamine during intimacy. Women depend heavily on oxytocin to feel emotionally synced with their partner. This means the quality of the relationship outside the bedroom directly affects intimacy inside it. For women, safety isn't just a feeling, it's a biological requirement. Practically speaking, this means gentle touch, listening, patience, and emotional consistency are potent tools for strengthening trust. A woman's body is wired to respond positively to a partner who shows presence rather than pressure, compassion rather than urgency. When you understand this, you begin to see intimacy not as an act, but as a continuation of emotional support, and the bond becomes significantly deeper. 3. Serotonin. Stress and emotional buoyancy. Serotonin is one of the brain's most important mood regulators, and although it's often associated with antidepressant medications, it plays a much broader role. In women, emotional stress, lack of support, and relationship conflict can lower serotonin levels, increasing feelings of tension, irritability, or sadness. Intimacy, when it occurs within a safe, supportive relationship, can gently influence serotonin, helping the brain shift into a more balanced emotional state. While the effects are subtle, they are meaningful. The emotional environment surrounding intimacy matters as much as the act itself. When a woman feels valued, heard, and emotionally connected to her partner, her brain interprets intimacy as calming rather than stressful. This has a ripple effect on mood, sleep, decision-making, and even patience in daily life. Men often underestimate how profoundly emotional safety affects a woman's desire, satisfaction, and comfort. For many women, small gestures carry enormous weight. A warm conversation, reassurance, a simple touch, a partner who pays attention without rushing the moment. These behaviors reduce stress hormones like cortisol and allow the brain to embrace intimacy without emotional resistance. If a woman feels unseen or disconnected, intimacy becomes emotionally taxing instead of fulfilling. But when she feels secure, the brain relaxes, serotonin stabilizes, and connection deepens naturally. 4. Melatonin restoration. And the sleep sea of NSC to villain. What many people fail to recognize is that intimacy has a multi-dimensional effect on the body's sleep cycle. Melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep, can rise subtly after calm, emotionally connected intimacy. While the boost is small, it can still contribute to a sense of relaxation and readiness for sleep. More importantly, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes active during emotional closeness, triggering the body's natural rest and restore mode. This calming state is essential for both partners, but especially for women whose brains have higher baseline levels of emotional processing during the day. When a woman feels physically close to her partner in a reassuring way, whether through intimacy or simple affectionate touch, the brain interprets it as a signal that the environment is safe. This sense of security allows the body to lower stress hormones, regulate breathing, soften muscle tension, and transition more easily into restful sleep. Better sleep doesn't just improve mood, it supports immune function, reduces inflammation, stabilizes weight, improves cognitive clarity, and strengthens emotional resilience. For women in long-term relationships, the quality of sleep often reflects the quality of emotional connection with their partner. When peaceful closeness is part of the relationship, rest naturally improves, and so does the relationship itself. 5. Immunological tolerance. A fascinating biological RES perhaps one of the most surprising aspects of long-term intimacy is the way a woman's immune system adapts to her partner. Over time, with consistent exposure to a partner's natural biological material, the immune system begins to recognize certain proteins and respond with greater tolerance rather than alarm. This concept, known as immunological tolerance, plays a role in reproductive biology and immune regulation. While the effects vary widely among individuals, research shows that long-term monogamous intimacy influences how the immune system behaves. This doesn't mean intimacy is a substitute for healthcare or that exposure is always beneficial, far from it. But it does mean the body is capable of forming a kind of partnership with the individual it encounters most frequently. In committed relationships, this adaptation may contribute to lower inflammatory responses and improved immune regulation. It's one of the many ways Pabati forms long-term biological bonds with a partner. Emotionally, this science supports what people intuitively feel. Long-term intimacy fosters a sense of familiarity, comfort, and stability. When a relationship is nurturing and consistent, both partners develop a deeper sense of safety. which can positively influence everything from stress response to emotional well-being. Understanding this helps men recognize why consistency and trust matter as much biologically as they do emotionally. 6. The critical importance of risk awareness. While intimacy holds potential emotional and biological benefits, it also carries risks that must be acknowledged responsibly. Sexually transmitted infections, bacterial infections, and rare allergic reactions can occur through intimate contact of any kind. These risks are not limited to casual encounters. They can exist in long-term relationships if either partner has untreated conditions or undisclosed medical concerns. Honesty and health awareness are essential components of safe intimacy. Too often, couples avoid conversations about sexual health out of embarrassment, fear, or the assumption that long-term relationships automatically guarantee safety. In truth, regular screenings, open communication, and mutual transparency protect both partners. A woman's body can experience significant health consequences from untreated infections, ranging from pelvic pain to fertility issues to systemic illness. A man's willingness to prioritize sexual health is not only responsible, it communicates care and respect. Practically speaking, this means scheduling routine checkups, testing when appropriate, and making choices that protect the relationship. Men who take a proactive role in their health set the foundation for safer, more fulfilling intimacy. Emotional trust grows when both partners know they are protected, informed, and respected. 7. Your lifestyle directly affects intimacy and her well-being. Of the most overlooked truths about intimacy is that a man's lifestyle has direct biochemical effects on the intimate experience. Everything from diet to alcohol consumption to medications influences the composition of biological fluids and the body's overall chemical environment. Women, who often have more sensitive hormonal and immune systems, can be affected by these changes in ways men may not realize. Alcohol, high-sugar diets, smoking, and certain medications can alter pH levels, inflammation, and chemical balance. For example, excessive alcohol consumption can increase inflammation and change biochemical markers in the body, which may affect both partners during intimacy. Poor diet can raise oxidative stress and reduce overall vitality. On the other hand, healthy routines like hydration, balanced nutrition, regular exercise, and stress management can enhance mood, energy, endurance, and overall intimacy quality. Emotionally, a healthy partner contributes to a healthy relationship. When a man takes care of himself, he communicates reliability, stability, and confidence. Women often respond positively to partners who prioritize self-care, not because of vanity, but because it signals responsibility and long-term potential. Ultimately, healthy habits protect both partners, physically and emotionally. But in it all together, the action plan for me, and now that you understand the science, the question becomes, what should you do with this information? First, communicate openly with your partner. Encourage conversations about health, comfort, boundaries, and emotional needs. Listening without defensiveness builds trust and strengthens emotional connection. When a woman feels safe expressing her needs, intimacy becomes more fulfilling and mutually rewarding. Second, take your health seriously. Your lifestyle, diet, medications, and habits influence not only your own body, but your partner's experience during intimacy. Prioritizing wellness is a form of care, respect, and commitment. Third, be mindful and present during intimate moments. Women often respond more deeply to emotional presence than physical technique. Slowing down, paying attention, and creating an environment of safety and closeness allows her body to relax into the moment. Fourth, schedule regular medical screenings. Protecting each other's health is an act of love, not suspicion. And finally, support your partner's wellness alongside your own. Healthy relationships grow from shared habits, shared goals, and shared care. Gentlemen, before we close, I want to leave you with something essential. Many men reach midlife believing that intimacy becomes more complicated, more distant, or less meaningful with age. But age does not diminish your capacity for connection, it expands it. You bring more experience, more emotional intelligence, more awareness, and more depth to the table than you ever did in your 20s or 30s. Intimacy in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond can be richer, more connected, more satisfying, and more deeply bonded if you understand the science behind it. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply learning what no one ever taught you. And when you apply this knowledge, when you honor the emotional and biological truth of your partner, your relationship transforms in powerful ways. Intimacy becomes a place of safety, freedom, confidence, and joy. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Dr. Michelle Williams, and I'll see you in the next video.